up on this list right here from an attendance standpoint. Thanks for taking the time and joining us tonight. The attendee list is still climbing. It's in the 170s, so we'll just give everybody just a couple more minutes to log in. Again, if you have any questions and you want to submit them on the Q&A, please go ahead and do so, and we'll cover as many as we can. Hey, Dylan, are you able to answer the questions live there? See, like Bam Bam just typed in there. Can you type an answer in there for us? Are you able to do that?
Yeah, as they come into the open flat, I can type an answer to them, or I can choose to answer it live, which just says it's been answered live and doesn't timestamp. But I could verbally read the questions as they come in if you want.
All right, as we answer them, you're able to move them over to answered so they're off the queue?
Yes.
Go ahead and do that as they're stacking up. Questions are coming in, which is great. There's 4 questions in the queue, so if you're answering them live and moving them out, just, you know, like for his, just say thanks, good seeing you, and then leave the live ones open.
All right. Some of these I think you already have planned to address. I might leave those up and then mark them off as we get to them.
That's perfect. Hey, everybody, just a quick update. The attendee count is still rising. It's over 190 now, so I'm just going to give everybody a few moments. I do want to say thank you for joining us. We've got some of our front office staff members here that wanted to log in and virtually say hello to you as well. So in a minute, we'll give everybody a quick opportunity to just introduce themselves so you know who everybody is, and we'll go on from there. Again, any questions you might have, we've got some talking points and some notes that we'll try to cover, but mainly tonight is about you, and it's about answering any questions you may have. Selfishly, I will tell you, I just said it a minute ago, but if you just logged in and missed it, this might be more for us than you. We miss seeing you, and this is a good opportunity to say hello. So thanks for taking time and spending it with us tonight. We're going to shoot to be done here in 60 minutes. Feel free to log off when you need to, but I will say that as far as I'm concerned, we'll stay as long as you need to answer questions. We'll get started here in just a minute. All right, so it's 5 minutes after 6. Let's take a quick minute and do some introductions on the folks that are here with us on the panel. Why don't we go around the room and let everybody say hello real quick. Mark, why don't you go ahead and go first? Hey, Mark, unmute.
Rookie mistake. Good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to have you all here. I'm Mark Sartori, and I'm the Regional Director for the Western Market Event Staffing Services.
Sam Langley.
Hey everybody, I hope you're all doing well. I'm Sam Langley, Director of Operations and Logistics. I miss you guys, miss seeing you at events, and hope to see you soon.
Mr. Stubblefield.
Hey everyone, good afternoon. I'm glad you all could join us tonight. It's really good to see some names at least pop up on the screen, but it's good just to kind of touch base with everyone, and glad you all could make it out tonight. Again, Greg Stubblefield, the Regional Director for the Eastern Event Operations.
Mr. Goulet.
I hope my mic's working now better, but hey everybody, I miss a lot of y'all. We missing Redskin camp right now and a lot of our camaraderie, so just glad to see everybody's name pop up.
Sean, you're up, Sean.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So I'm Sean Jacobson. I am the Executive Director of External Programs for RMC Events. Happy to be here today because we're definitely going to talk about some opportunities that exist for all of our event family members coming up in the external programs. I know a lot of you have already worked some external program, providing some support, but we're going to have even more openings going into the fall. So I'm excited to discuss those with you today. Just happy to see 222 people right now on this call. That's great.
Mr. Flower.
Hey everyone, I'm Patrick, the Senior Account Manager in the Western office. Thanks for joining us tonight, and hopefully we will see you all soon.
All right, Brett, your turn, man.
Hey everyone, Brett Rothel, Account Manager, Tidewater area. Still on the phone trying to get a couple people in from Tidewater. So hopefully the Tidewater representation will go up a little bit here shortly. Thanks everyone for coming out.
And my partner here with me this evening is BG. Go ahead, sir.
Billy Gordon, AKA BG. I can't wait to get over all this mess and get back and high five all you guys and hug everybody and keep this thing cranking again. But until then, we got a bunch of great opportunities that Sean can go over with you. Please call me anytime if you want to talk, get pumped up. I'll be here for you for anything you need, guys. We appreciate you. Thank you.
So BG's got a lot of pressure on him here tonight. The last time we did one of these talks and we sent it out to you all via the Live Behind the Barricade, it was Taylor that sat in that chair and was doing some of the discussion. So the bar has been set for BG. Let's hope he attains it tonight. So again, our attendee count is up over 230. So I just want to again say thank you. I will offer this. This was just an idea. We miss you and we wanted to chat with you. We didn't know how else to do it. So we asked the smart guys in the office, Dylan and Trace, to put something together for us. And this is what they gave us. I'll tell you, I've been excited about it all day. There's no presentation agenda. We want to hear from you. We've got your questions here. We have some talking points ready to discuss, but quite frankly, we just wanted to open up a dialogue with you all. And I would dare say this, we'll answer all your questions. There's not a question you could ask me that we won't answer. And I'll come back every day on Wednesday if that's what it takes to make sure that we can continue to talk to y'all. So we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us. And we'll get started right away with a couple questions. The first one on there, and Dylan will move them out of the way when we're done, but the first one is, are people still able to apply for employment with RMC events? The answer to that is of course. They can go online, they can fill out an application, and we'll process it. We're not conducting a ton of interviews and don't have a ton of classes planned, but we will process them and we'll keep them on file for when we do. Look, let's face it. We anticipate this health crisis to end at some point in time, and when we do, as BG mentioned earlier, we hope to have a pretty busy spring. Mark was just talking about it a minute ago, and we'll still collect applications. We'll be ready to hire. On the hiring front, as some of you know, we've been doing your renewals virtually. So if you've taken a virtual O1I renewal course, we've gotten some good feedback on that. And this weekend, we're going to test an entry-level O1E class in the Western region virtually. So there could be 15 to 20 people that are hired this weekend that we're testing a virtual entry-level class with. So our HR department has been hard at work at that. DCJS has granted us the ability to do it. And we're pretty excited about testing it out this weekend. So good question.
Dan, if I could
go ahead.
add one more thing. If you know somebody that wants to apply and you recommend them, please have them put your name down on the application. We love getting referrals from people that are part of the RMC family.
Good point. So the next question is NASCAR in Richmond a go? So it's a good question. I'm fortunate enough to have a conversation with the good people at Richmond Raceway on a daily basis. The current plan is their race is still on and it's multiplied. They're going to race, even it's possible for them to race Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, trying to make up some races. What is unknown at this time is the amount of fans that will be permitted in the stands. As everyone knows, currently the Commonwealth is on a 1,000 or 50% plan, which is 1,000 for Richmond Raceway. Whether they do that or not, I'm not exactly sure. Whether they race with fans or no fans, I'm not sure. if you're a NASCAR fan, you've been watching races on TV, and they're racing most of them without fans. Bristol in Tennessee pushed the envelope a little bit and did about 20 or 30,000 for the All-Star race a few weeks ago. And you just saw an announcement today, if you saw it, that the Indy 500 on August 25th, I believe, is going to race with 25% capacity. That's interesting because 25% capacity at the Indy 500, if you've ever been there, 25% is probably 80,000 people. So how they're going to pull that off, I'm not sure yet, but that news came out today. So to answer your question, NASCAR is still a go. Our level of involvement and fans is still unknown. I can tell you, Greg and I talk about it almost every day, and we'll be ready to go if they need us, if it comes through. The next question is, how has RMC Corporation fared during this downtime? And for one, I would just say I appreciate you asking that question. You know, we've done all we can. As everyone on this call knows, we tried to reach out with some support for you all with a paycheck in late May and June. We were able to send out about $565,000 into your pockets. Trust me, I would have liked to have done that every month, and I'd like to do more for you, but we'll continue to do all we can in that regard. As an organization, we're doing the best we can to shave expenses. I will tell you, it's no surprise to you that having no events has certainly affected our revenue line, but we're doing all we can to bring our expenses back in line so that we are ready to come out of this in good shape whenever it does end. In full transparency, I was very hopeful to see college football, and I'm disappointed to see it start to fall. And now we lay our hopes on college basketball. One way or the other, though, I hope that when we do get back to business, I hope you all are ready to go, because I have a feeling that if some of this stuff gets pushed into the spring, you all could be working a spring football Saturday afternoon for the first time in history. So we look forward to getting it back to business, but we're doing the best we can to fare well, to be ready for y'all when we get back to good. The next question that's on the agenda is, since Chesterfield schools are going virtual, does that mean that we will not have high school sports? That's a great question. VHSL is set to make an announcement in 5 days about what they plan to do. I think Hanover going back in person, Chesterfield going virtual, and Henrico is going to vote tomorrow, more than likely following the superintendent's suggestion, possibly to go virtually. I think you will see high school fall sports move to the spring or be canceled, postponed altogether. I think we'll know more on that in about 5 days when VHSL makes a move. But I do think your question is accurate. Because they are going virtual, I do believe that you'll see high school fall sports get postponed or moved to the spring. The next question is, if we work an event and a couple of days later, one of our employees that worked the same event gets sick and tests positive, will all the employees that work that event be notified of the positive test? Great question, and it's on our talking point. So let me cover that for a minute, because it goes to speak to your health and wellness, which is a key point of why we want to make ourselves available tonight. The answer to your question is absolutely. So here's our full package of employee health and wellness as we begin to re-engage. Here are a couple things you should expect and be ready for now. You should expect that face coverings will be a requirement of the Commonwealth. I think that that's a known entity to you now. I trust that you all have one or two in your car, in your pocket, in your bag at all times anyway. And I would tell you now that part of our protocol will be to make that part of the uniform for the short time. The good news about that is we care enough about you to let you make those choices. I wear a gaiter. I wear it all the time. It's just a black gaiter. I wear it around my neck and I pull it up over my face. Some people prefer a mask. We want you to make the choice of what is comfortable and best fit for you. That said, there will be some stipulations on that, as far as just please choose a neutral color, no logos, no verbiage, no symbols, just a face mask or a face covering that fits you in the most comfortable and safe way that you like. If you are working a UVA game and you wish to wear a UVA mask, a UVA gaiter, that's fine. Just please don't wear a VCU gaiter at a JMU game. So make them appropriate for the spot that you're working. But again, we want you to have the option and choice to do what is most comfortable and safe for you. We have received a few questions with regard to medical exemptions. If you are not able to wear a face covering, we will have a process in place for you. I would simply say just email hr@rmcevents.com. We'll process your request. And any documentation you have to accompany it. We'll send you back a letter that you please keep on your pocket or keep a digital photo of it on your phone so that you have authorization with the medical exemption of wearing a face covering. And I would also add this: if you are at an event and you're not wearing a face covering due to a medical exemption, please note you will always run the risk of somebody asking you. A guest might ask you, a fellow employee might ask you, or a client might ask you. You are only required to politely answer with the fact that you've been granted a medical exemption. You do not need to go into any details. We encourage you not to do so. And if anybody has any follow-up questions, you can direct them to the event manager or supervisor on site. But please know, if you do file that medical exemption and you're working without a face covering, there's a good chance you're going to get asked a question by an unknowing guest, client, or coworker. So we will release all these details in a COVID-19 health and employee wellness document, and it'll be fully detailed for you. But if you have questions, we're an open book. Just ask us and we'll answer it. To fully answer your question, if someone tests positive, yes, we will contact trace that event roster back, and you will be individually notified if we think you were in proximity. The new Department of Labor standards that we think are going to come out on the 27th are going to require an organization such as ours to, quote, notify all employees of a positive result. So I will tell you now, please note, you might get a company-wide email that, quote unquote, an employee in our organization has tested positive. We are about to be required to do that by the law of the Commonwealth and executive action of the governor by the end of this month. We will take it one step further, that if we roster check and contact trace you to that event with those individuals or that person, we will notify you independently. So good question, Stan, and I appreciate the question. And we have all those mechanisms in place once we get ready to reopen again. The next question is, do you have a plan to protect those of us who may have underlying conditions but still want to work? The answer to that is, of course. If face coverings become not permitted and you feel more comfortable still wearing it, absolutely. If it's neutral in color and it is matching in the stipulations what we need and you feel comfortable wearing it, fantastic. Here's some things we can't promise you. I can't promise you that you'll never be exposed to a person who has it. And we work in a people business, and I don't know how to do that. We can certainly make sure that you're signing up and selecting events that you're most comfortable with, but if it's something that particularly you need, again, wearing a face covering, wearing gloves, just email us and let us know, and we'll do the best we can to make sure we answer those concerns of yours. Note the whole time, we work in a people-heavy business, and we're going to constantly be in touch with people. Some policies and protocols we will change. BG is going to hate this one. I don't think we'll be giving out high fives and hugs for a little while. Contactless guest service has already been added to our training protocol, and we're also adding tips and tricks and implementation protocols for contactless guest service. So we'll do what we can, but note, in the people business, we're going to be around people when we get re-engaged again. Let's pause on the questions for a second. I'm going to let someone else talk. Greg, can you quickly just speak to question of scheduling? An employee has signed up for events and they're hearing now University of Richmond football and the CAA is canceled. What happens to their scheduled events that they might have signed up for?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, a lot of this will come to you in an email format as well, just from some more specific details to that. But basically what we're asking at this point, as we're all still getting all this information very, very rapidly, as people make the decisions on what they're doing, is we're asking everyone to still maintain those dates if possible, of an event that you're currently scheduled for. If it does in fact get canceled or has already been canceled, to try to hold that date still available. The reason being for that is if something else does come into play or we have other events that need staff for that particular day, we will certainly reach out to you first to try to move you to another event for that specific day. Or if another event pops up, try to move you to that as well. We certainly wanted to take care of the folks that were already scheduled that day. So that's the reason we're asking for you to hold on to it. And obviously, as we get closer, we'll make those decisions on the needs. But we want to certainly give that opportunity to you first before you offer it to any other new staff that's trying to get in, or before we send a staff blast, that kind of thing. So that will maintain the same for September and October, as well as into the fall as we continue to move along.
Thanks, Greg. Mark and Patrick, do you want to offer anything from the West?
Sure. First thing I'd like to point out is the announcement did come out that the CAA is looking to postpone all their fall football to the spring, and they allowed JMU or any individual school to operate as an independent during the fall season. JMU has announced that they intend to do so, and they are currently working on readjusting their schedule to accommodate that. So one of the things that we have in our mind is that we're hoping that JMU football's home dates will remain the same. I know that they're working to try and make that happen. So much like Greg said, if you're signed up for JMU football, we'd like you to stay on that roster, right? And in similar fashion, UVA is planning on having football this fall as well. So we'd like you to stay on that roster too, right, if you're signed up for that. Now, with that said, once we find out more information, if a game date is going to change, or JMU or UVA make a different decision, then we'll cross that bridge and then we'll offer you other options, right? But for now, we definitely want you to, keep the schedule you have, and just like in the Eastern region, patiently await the options as they come forward. Patrick, anything else you wanted to add there?
Yeah, just one thing. I know a few folks have inquired about the Olympic sports for UVA, and there was an announcement that all Olympic sports were being delayed until at least September 1st. The reason you haven't seen it on Staffmate, the soccer, the volleyballs, the field hockey, we're still waiting for the games that haven't been postponed. We're waiting for those to be released publicly. Once the schedule is released, just like normal, we'll release those on Staffmate and start the sign-up process for that. But in the meantime, we're in a holding pattern waiting for those other sports. But September 1st and on, they're still tentatively scheduled. So don't think they're canceled. We're just kind of in a holding pattern at the moment.
Great, thanks, fellas. Brett, do you have anything specific to Tidewater you want to share, or did Greg cover it for you?
Greg covered it, and Mark did too, with the CAA making that announcement. William & Mary has announced all fall sports are postponed at this time. Still waiting on CNU's official word, but some of their opponents did cancel some games. So still holding pattern.
Got it. Well, thank you, fellas. We'll go back to the questions here real quickly. Before we get into that, I made one note. We were on the face covering conversation, and I want to direct your attention. Our participant count is up in the 260s now. So again, really great turnout, and this is really teaching us that this is an awesome way to communicate with you. So we'll talk about doing this more often. If you all enjoy it and you find this valuable, please let us know. I see your chats on here in the chat room, and the participant count tells me that you want this. So we'll continue to make it available to you. But on the face covering note, please direct your attention to today's newsletters that came out, the Western Weekly and the Eastern Behind the Barricade newsletters. A great staff member of ours, good family, Dee Childs, has been making RMC masks and has been quite successful at them. So masks with our logo exist. Dee reached out to me a month or so ago to get approval to use the logo, and we sent her the logo, and she's been doing a great job. So if you're interested in getting an RMC logo, please reach out. Check the newsletter. Dee's email is on there. And if you haven't met Dee, She's great people. If you have met her, you know exactly how great a people that she is. So thanks, Dee, for all your work on that. Back to the questions. Let's knock out one or two of these ones. A lot of questions that just came in about if we heard anything about the fair. No shocker that's from you, Beagle. I see you out there, but no, is the fair still on? Ryan, is the fair, any updates? And you know, the sad news is this: about 10 minutes ago, I received a call from the president of the State Fair of Virginia, and their board of directors voted this afternoon to cancel this year's State Fair. So I wish I had better news for you. I think there's 268 people on this call right now, and I would dare say that all 268 of you know how sad I am to not be in the parking lot with Tookie and everybody on those State Fair days. So I'm sorry to report those news, but we just received word about 45 minutes ago, maybe an hour ago. So I'm sorry to pass that news along to you. Now, if anybody is bored during the fair days at the end of September, October, you might find me sitting outside the Bold Ruler House for a day or two with a parking vest on. So you know where to find me if you need me. One of the next questions on the list is, given the new requirements for social distancing, how will RMC deal with transportation of staff to and from events? And that is a fantastic question submitted by a fantastic supervisor and driver with our organization. So Sam, I know, is on the call. Sam's crew has a protocol in place. Our vans have been parked, as you would well imagine. Sam's crew has sanitized and cleaned them. They are prepared once we re-engage to have them cleaned and sanitized after every use. With that noted, the capacity in those vans is going to need to decrease. I can see sitting 2 per row maximum, maybe not even that. So that's a great question. It's one we're monitoring. And we've had conversations with our transportation provider at James River Transportation. And I can see utilizing professional bus and even minibus transportation more often to fit more people sometimes. For example, if we need to move 25 to 30 people, you may see us still using a 55 passenger bus to do so to allow for better spacing, but we are monitoring that, and that's a great question, and it's something that's been on our mind. It's safe to assume that whenever you travel within a vehicle or a van or a bus, I would say the face covering will be required, and keeping a seat space distance will also be a requirement. Those should probably be the minimum expectations that you should expect in those settings. The next question is, are college and university students expected to move back in the fall at this point? UVA and VCU have announced they're coming back. I have an Elon student at home, and Elon is going back. I will tell you that she is both eager and apprehensive about it, so I'm sure all students are. Some students do have the ability to go virtual. All schools are offering that. But at this point, we have not seen a school that is not open that I'm aware of. And folks on this call, correct me if I'm wrong, but Richmond, VCU, University of Virginia, JMU have not announced any students not returning yet. The next question is, will RMC provide support for UVA's move-in days as we have done in the past? I'll throw this one over to Flower. Have you guys heard anything about move-in day requests?
Yeah, it's a great question. It actually came up in a conversation this morning. We plan on reaching out and seeing what that entails. I would imagine it's going to look a little different. So we're starting to hear from similar things from UVA about different things like that. So we'll, like our other events, we'll keep you posted once we hear for sure. Staff may, and through the newsletter and the text messages, we'll communicate that as quick as we can. But at the moment, no updates for that.
I think JB, though, mentioned in our staff meeting the other day, I don't know, JB, if your connection's still good, you do have some information on some VCU move-in work that we did get?
Yeah, we've heard from Autry Theater that they are feeding all the VCU students that are moving in, and we're going to have some opportunities there as well. And I think Greg has an announcement on another college.
Yeah, that's correct. So right now we've actually heard from University of Richmond, Virginia State, and Richard Bland College. They have all reached out to us. We're working out details now to assist with their move-in process. So those will hopefully be coming our way, and we'll, of course, pass that on to you all as soon as we get it and it's all confirmed.
All right, let's keep going on the questions. The next one is, and I'm skipping a few. I know our panelists can see them. We're going to get to the discussion. There's been some questions on work in the external division for event staff members, and that's a big piece of our discussion that I want to save room for. But I'm trying to take care of all the PPE and the scheduling questions first, and we'll get to external in a second. Sean is here to help with that as well. The next question is, good evening. Will we be required to take temperatures of guests entering our events? And if so, how would this be accomplished with 3 to 6 foot distancing to adhere to social distancing? Good question. We are already receiving requests and performing some temperature forehead checks. We purchased 24 pieces of equipment to do so. A lot of our clients have purchased it, and we have been conducting some forehead tests at some events. I believe JB's had a couple events. JB, have you had a few at Bon Secours?
Yeah, currently ASM is requiring it in Richmond, and we have been doing a church service every Sunday, which we perform these forehead scans, and also we have an event coming up this Saturday at Altria that we'll be doing it.
So to answer your question, there's no way to perform a forehead scan with 3 to 6 foot distancing. So that's why masks have been required. So JB, for your attendees at these events, are they wearing face coverings when they come in?
Absolutely. They're being questioned by the client before they get to us with a list of questions, and then they have to have a mask on, and so do we.
Gotcha. So to answer your question in full, we are performing those. We do anticipate that might be an additional work opportunity for us. At this point in time, we're hesitant to turn down any work, and we have staff members performing this duty in some places in small limited numbers now. I do foresee that being a thing as we move forward. Certainly our staff will be in gloves and face coverings. And again, I think to put your mind at rest, I don't think there's an account manager in our organization that if you went to them and said, look, as I'm not comfortable in that role, may I please usher or take tickets or do something else, I'm fairly certain we can come to some help for you on that. So make sure that you're communicating that if that's the case. But for the most part, we have a lot of staff doing it and in a safe manner. The next question is a 4-part question, so let's hit them all. It says, thank you for hosting this webinar. I've got 4 questions. 1, will event staff be required to have their temperatures checked prior to working events? Great question. And I'll have a 2-part answer for you. 1, not only may you be required to take your temperature check when you arrive for work, we're also going to include it in our protocol that you self-check at home before you come to work for every shift. That is as simple as a temperature check. And if you're able to answer 2 questions, 1, do you have any signs or symptoms of COVID-19, which is shortness of breath, fever, coughing? And then 2, have you been confirmed in direct contact with a person who has tested positive for COVID-19? That's going to be in our employee wellness protocol, not only to protect you, but to protect our guests and to protect our coworkers who you will be meeting and standing next to. So if you cannot self-check those questions with positive answers, you're going to be asked to stay home. Our call-off penalty process will be waived for you. So if you call in that morning and say, look, I can't truthfully answer these questions in a positive manner, you will not be penalized for that call-off. But we want you and the rest of our staff to remain healthy. Then keep in mind that the state has given us the ability to, and we do retain the right to have temperature checks upon arrival for staff at work. So if you walk into JPJ, you walk into Siegel Center, you walk into a UVA football game, as you check in, there may be temperature checks required. Now, I will tell you the same thing you're going to tell me. Just not having a temperature doesn't mean you don't have COVID. I know that. We're doing the best we can with what's required by the Commonwealth and, quite frankly, what is expected by our guests and our clients. And if there is something we can do to put another piece in place to do anything we can to protect you while you work, we will do it. And if temperature checking is it, we'll do that too. So to answer your question, it is possible to be temperature checked at work, but we'll also ask our staff to do it before they head to work. Number 2 is prior to the pandemic, a certain number of hours had to be worked or employees would be removed from the system. Is this the reason for the submission of September, October schedules? Awesome question. What you're talking about is inactivity. We typically, if you're inactive for 2 to 3 months, you get notified by HR, hey, can you start working again? And if you don't work in the next couple months, they inactivate you and you leave the roles of employment and you have to come back to be reactivated. Our HR department has waived that since March. We're not enforcing the inactivity. I dare say the 269 of you that are on this call would love to work an event. So we know that, we miss you, and we're not currently working on an inactivation process. The reason for September, October schedules was twofold. One, we had time on our hands and we wanted to process that and get them to you and get them processed in the event that September, October football schedules went on. We wanted to have some positive progress and get ahead of schedule. It had nothing to do with inactivity. And I would dare say this, we probably will not process the inactivity process until the spring of next year, until our engagement of events starts to pick up again. So great question. The third part is, how do you envision how the fair will work this year? We covered that, sadly enough. And 4, is apparel still being sold? Sam, I'll leave this one to you. I think the answer to that is sure. If there's a jacket or something you need, is that right, Sam?
Absolutely, yeah. If you'll just call the office and leave us a message, give us your size and what you're looking for, we'll certainly accommodate you and call you back and arrange a pickup.
Thanks, Sam. The next question is, did we figure out a way to provide hand washing stations for travel and remote outdoor events? One, the event venues per the Commonwealth are going to be required to provide that for guests. So therefore, they'll be there for staff. We also have Sam has one outdoor unit that we could use. Part of hand washing and hygiene is going to be a big deal. We will make certain that you have break opportunities to wash your hands as necessary. And we certainly encourage you to have a bottle of small hand sanitizer with you should you wish. We will do all we can to make sure that it's available to you, but please make sure that you're self-prepared as well. I've seen how prepared you all are at events, and I have no doubt that you'll come prepared for these as well. A couple more questions before we move on to external. So a couple questions have come in about your concern for our organization's health, viability. Please note we're doing everything we can to be here for you when we re-engage. We are in good shape. We will be okay. And I think in part, that's a really nice segue to talk about our external division. For those of you who might be new to us, please note this. We didn't have an external division in 2015. It was not till 2016, late 2016, that we began working at University of Virginia in their ambassador program, and then expanded into Safe Ride and expanded into the garage. And then just a year and a half ago, we expanded into the VCU market, almost 2 years now. And we have been working with the VCU police and an external division down here. So in full transparency, it is probably about a third or more of our business. Our external division is probably about a third of our business and growing. And at this point in time, it's probably been a savior during this time. We are able, and it's a good time to talk about this, a lot of our front office folks who are on salary here are working in those external divisions just to maintain a paycheck. So while you as event staff members are working in those programs, you may see a front office staff member, as more than a dozen of our front office staff members, almost 20 now, will be working in the external division, working shifts, simply to maintain their paycheck and their income as we take salary cuts here in our organization. We've taken them across the board, and we'll continue to do all we can to make sure our expenses are in line with our revenue. So please note that that's going on. So if you're trying to reach out to event staff members and account managers in our offices, please copy Greg at RMC Events. If you email JB or Rich or Brett, it's not a bad idea to copy Greg. And if you're in the West and you're trying to reach Stacy or Scott or somebody, it's not a bad idea to copy Mark or Patrick so they can assist you. And it is a good note for you to know that our staff members are working in external as well. As we transition in external, I want to bring back Sean Jacobson to give you a quick summary of what the external division is. explain a little bit about how we've lifted the prohibition. This event staff members that I've spoken with that are taking advantage of it and working in the external program are really doing a great job, and they're enjoying the hours. And Sean's going to tell you about opportunities that do exist. I don't like the fact that money is being taken, money earning opportunities are being taken from you in the fall, and we will never stop trying to find avenues for you if you want to work to try to find you those opportunities. And if that interests you, here's Sean Jacobson to give you some more details, and we'll come back and tell you how to do that when he's through. Sean, it's all yours.
Thanks, Dan. And yeah, Dan did a good job of outlining kind of where we started with external programs. So it did start at the University of Virginia with the ambassador program, and then we picked up a few other accounts within the university. About 2 years ago is when we started our footprint in the Richmond market. In the past 2 years, our VCU program has exploded. That program, when it first started, employed about 60 individuals. Right now, we need about 150 individuals to work for that program. At VCU, we're in all the residential buildings and all the academic buildings. We're in all the libraries. We do mobile patrol positions. We're in parking lots. We are everywhere. We're over at the hospital. We're doing walk-through metal detection at MCV. We staff pretty much everything on the Monroe Park campus and the MCV campus. In addition to the core campuses, we also staff some satellite locations for VCU. One of them we just started staffing a couple months ago, and that is an emergency department that was built in New Kent, Virginia, that we're providing 2 security officers 24 hours a day for. So it's grown. It's became quite a big program in the Richmond area. In addition to VCU, we also staff the Collegiate School, which is a private pre-K through 12 school. We also staff SAI, which is a rehabilitation hospital that's just been built in the Short Pump area. We also staff some business through the Wilton companies. They're a huge conglomerate of property ownership in the Richmond area, both commercial and residential. And we're also going to be staffing a new facility coming online here in August. It's called the Now facility. It's with VCU, and that's in the Short Pump region as well. So all in right now, we probably have close to 200 positions just in the Richmond market that we have. Over 80% of the employees are full-time employees with RMC events. Those folks are receiving medical and dental benefits. And they also receive paid time off on our accrual-based system. In addition to Richmond, we have our Western Virginia portfolio in Charlottesville with the Ambassador Program, Safe Ride Program, the parking garages. We also help with some traffic and pedestrian control. So it's been pretty good business over the past couple of years, and it keeps expanding. The reason I wanted to be here today is to loop everybody in on the opportunities that may exist for you right now due to the limited availability of events in the fall. I know a lot of folks have helped us out already in the past couple months, really since COVID hit, in both the Western and Eastern markets. I know we sent out emails trying to get some folks that would be interested in receiving some additional training to come provide some support. So I thank you guys that have done that. But at this point, we have a need for even more. As we go into the fall, all of our accounts that we're staffing on the external side, they're growing. So we do not want to hire new people and bring them on board to fill positions that we would like to offer to our existing RMC event family. It just doesn't make sense for us. We had to cancel a class of 22 folks that were supposed to come on board to work in our Eastern external program in the middle of March because of COVID. And we have been backfilling all those positions with event folks. So far to date, just in 2020, in the Eastern market, mainly being VCU, we've had over $200,000 worth of payroll put back into the pocket of our event folks working in the Richmond area. So the support has been great. But as we go into the fall, the support we're going to need is even more. There's a couple different ways somebody can get involved in external programs. If you're looking for a full-time job or a part-time job with regular, consistent, scheduled, fixed hours, let us know. In the Eastern market, please let Greg know. In the Western market, please let Patrick know. We have positions available. These positions for full-time positions, like I said, they are benefited positions. So healthcare does apply, both medical and dental. And you also receive paid time off. There is some additional training folks need to go through depending on which program they work, and every region pays differently as well. Here in the Western region, UVA passed a living wage initiative right before COVID hit. So positions at the University of Virginia, if you're a full-time employee with our organization, or you're a part-time employee that has switched over to external to work regular fixed schedules, the positions start as low as $15 an hour, with overnight positions being $16 an hour. If you live on the far western side of Richmond and you're part of the Richmond event family and you're interested in potentially making some additional money and you wouldn't mind the drive, we'd be more than happy to talk to you about the possibilities we have. In the markets right now, we're looking in Western to hire approximately 15 full-time folks in the next couple weeks. We would like to hire those full-time folks from within our ranks. So if you need a job, whether it's full-time or part-time with regular hours, let us know. The big thing we need in Charlottesville moving forward in the fall is folks to work for our Safe Ride program. So those will be overnight hours, and it's actually a 10-hour shift, so you would only work 4 days a week. Runs from 10 p.m. until 8 a.m. That is the bulk of the positions we need. We do need a few folks to help us out in the parking garages over at the hospital. And those are all 3 different shifts. And we also still need some folks to help us out with the ambassador program, which runs 24 hours a day. In the Eastern market, we need, I would dare to say going into the fall, probably 25 additional full-time employees. If we don't get the 25 full-time employees, that's okay, because we have more of a footprint in the RVA market with our part-time event staff family that we're hoping some of you folks may be interested in locking down a fixed schedule moving forward. So the loop back, a couple different ways you can help out with external if you're interested to earn some additional earning opportunities or start a new career with us. 1 would be full-time positions, 2 would be fixed part-time positions, and 3 would be kind of the same scenario that you guys are used to on the event side, where shifts are sent out and you sign up for the shifts that work for your schedule. So there's 3 different ways, but the first step, no matter what you want to do, is contact your immediate account manager in your region to get the ball rolling. But please know, in the next 2 weeks, we're going to need to make significant headway on getting some of these positions staffed. There's one other kind of caveat in the Eastern region. At VCU, all of our folks that work inside the residential buildings, so these are the buildings where students actually live and sleep, they're required to get their CSO security endorsement on their O1E unarmed security license. We teach that class in-house as well. It will be a 2-day class. There's a test at the end that is much more difficult than the test everyone took during their initial O1E. We, knock on wood, do have a 100% pass rate on that test right now, but we are looking to put together a small group of folks to put them through CSO training to get that additional endorsement to be able to work in the residential buildings. So we got some good opportunities. I know the fall is not looking as good as we had all hoped the fall was going to look a few months ago, but if you're looking for some earning potential, and if your dynamics in your own life change and you need a full-time job or a part-time job with regular fixed hours, please reach out, because we do have the opportunities.
Thanks, Sean. That's a good summary. And again, if you're interested in that, Chip at rmcevents.com in the East, and reach out to Mark at rmcevents.com in the West, and they can get you in touch with Sean and help you answer any additional questions. I'll again reiterate this: the event staff folks, and I see Deb, I see your comment on there, the folks who have been utilizing this and taking advantage of it have really, I think they've enjoyed the opportunity to continue to get some hours. So we're fortunate to have the external program. Again, we've only had it for 4 years now, and it's offering us the opportunity to have hours still available while our event division seems to be at a standstill. So thanks, Sean, for that. Sean, a question just came in while you were speaking about what is a CSO endorsement. Can you just really briefly again cover what the CSO is?
Yeah, certainly. So it stands for Campus Security Officer. The legislation, when it was passed, is geared for folks that are key holders in positions where students live. So those would be the residential positions. That training goes a lot more in depth with some of the training you already received during your initial O1E, but we spend a lot more time talking about the Clery Act, Title IX, VEWA, civil diversity, things you need to know about working in a diverse student population. Also some further de-escalation training, crisis intervention training. It's just a more in-depth training, and that is 2 days long.
Excellent. Thanks, Sean. We are about 9 minutes away from the top of the hour, and we've cleared the question board. So if you have another question, please send it in. I want to take a minute and recap some of the talking points we wanted to cover tonight to make sure that we get them all. And then I'll give all the panelists just a quick minute to give any closing thoughts. Again, if you have any last questions, please throw them in there. I will also tell you that I've enjoyed this, and I hope you have as well. I know our front office staff were eager to join us today. We will do this again. I would sit there say in the near term, you'll see this announced again as we just continue to look for ways to allow you to communicate with us and give us an opportunity to answer questions directly to you and not have to trade emails and phone messages. And this seems to be a really good way to do it, and we'll do it as long as you all wish. Here are a few last coverage of talking points that we made to make sure that if you were late joining this call, we want to make sure that you get them all. And again, if you have any last questions, roll them in here and I'll cover them real quick. We wanted to make sure we covered scheduling with you, and Greg and Patrick and Brett and Mark did a good job covering that. If you have scheduling questions that you missed or didn't get answered, please reach out to Greg at rmcevents.com or email Mark or Patrick in the West, and we'll get you those answers. If you're in Tidewater, go ahead and email Brett directly. If your DCJS license is expiring, you're still getting phone calls, and we are renewing that online virtually for you via this method right here, this Zoom webinar method. So please keep your DCJS license updated. You do not want to let that expire. If you let it expire, you have to start over with the full 01E. That is not our rule. That is the Department of Criminal Justice Services rule. So please continue your renewals and get them done. Really good feedback on renewals. I got an email even today from someone who just took one saying how functional and easy it was. So that was a talking point we wanted to cover. Another one to reiterate, our front office staff, our offices are virtually closed. There might not be anybody in the Western or Eastern event offices. So if you're emailing or calling, please make sure you're copying Greg or Mark or Patrick on that. If you're trying to reach somebody, you might get a quicker response. Training and curriculum. You will see some updates. We're adding PPE use to our training. We're adding CDC hygiene guidelines to our training. We're making we made 12 adjustments to our training protocol, and you'll start seeing that rolled out. Employee safety. We covered PPE today. We covered face coverings, and you should really expect it to be part of your uniform, but please choose something that is comfortable for you. A gaiter, a mask is fine. One with an RMC logo on it. If you want a cool one with an RMC logo on it, check out the newsletter that came out today and go contact Dee and get those. Those are really awesome. She's done a great job. If not, please choose a neutral color, no logos, no verbiage, no statements. We're not in the business of advertising. We're in the business of doing the job right, like we always have. So if you have questions on that, please contact the account managers. You may wear a logo appropriate to the school you're at. So if you're working in the VCU program, Sean, I'm not sure external wise, I think a VCU mask or a gaiter would be approved at VCU. And at UVA, I'm sure they're okay with a V-saber on our logo. Just please don't cross schools with that. I am a Spider, everybody knows that, sorry. I will not be wearing a Spider gaiter at a JMU event. I'll stick with my neutral one. And then moving on, gloves are not currently required. You may wear them if you'd like. I would ask this, if you do decide to wear gloves, please avoid the latex ones. There are a lot of allergies to that, not only to our guests, but some of our coworkers. Use the nitrile ones. Again, neutral in color, black or white are fine. Earning opportunities, we covered some opportunities for you to make some money in the external program. My last two closing comments are Dylan is recording this and we will post it on our website. So I would ask this. If you enjoyed this, if you 255 people who are still logged in, please post it on the Peeps thing. Please share it with your friends. Let people know we're doing this so they can come ask these questions again. There's never been a question you can ask that I don't want to answer for you, and I don't think there will be. So please share this information if you found it helpful. Tell us what you need to hear from us, and we'll revamp it for next time. But if this worked for you, please let us know so that we can do this again for you. We will announce this in the future, and we'll do this again for you. All right, last couple questions before we close out. Any word from the PGA with regard to the golf tournament? Jesse, great question. The PGA has submitted a spectacular plan. It is an unbelievably good plan. They submitted it to our industry task force and to the governor's office, and we hope they will be able to have a go at it with 3,000 attendees or not. That is up to the guy that sits in the mansion downtown and not me. Unfortunately, we are relying upon his decision on that. So right now it's still on. On that note, I will tell you, our organization is fortunate. I've been able to be involved in the governor's industry task force. We met with the governor 2 weeks ago. We were asking him for some simple roadmap, a plan to open our industry. You can see it on a couple news interviews I've given. If you want more info on that, just email us and we'll get you info on that. But I'm working with industry leaders from Live Nation, from ASM Global, Colonial Downs, VCU, UVA, Busch Gardens, Kings Dominion. There's a great panel assembled, and we've done some good work, and the governor has our plan. We just need some help from them. So we hope to have that soon. Any unemployment benefit questions you may have, great note from CT. CT, thanks for sending this. If you have unemployment benefit questions, please send an email to hr@rmcevents.com, and we will get those answered for you. We have some folks who are collecting unemployment from their regular job, and they're asking if earnings from us affect that, and they're asking if earnings lost from us if they get unemployment. So send questions to us at hr@rmcevents.com. We'll get them to you. Is the supervisor meeting for August 20th still on schedule? Mark, do you know the answer, or Greg, do you know the answer to that?
As it stands right now, we currently plan on having that supervisor development class, but it's something that we'll be working with HR. I know in the last class, we had a significant number of participants. So I imagine that we'll continue to do that because it was a big success.
Awesome. And then, we appreciate your comments. We've reached the end. There's no more questions in the queue. A couple things. One, don't think you have to wait till we do this to send a question. As CT mentioned, you have a question, send it to hr@rmcevents.com. We'll get it routed out. Send it to somebody you're comfortable with in our organization. We'll get it to the right person. And two, we are recording this and we will post it and we'll notify you. So please share that as you wish. Let's go around real quick. Sam, you got anything for the group?
No, sir, not really. It's hopefully we'll see each other soon because I really miss you.
Mark, you got anything?
Dan, you touched on it earlier, and I just want to reiterate it again that the Behind the Barricade Western Weekly and Behind the Barricade Eastern Edition, it's a great way to keep up to date with what we have going on in our business, in our industry. I know that, Mina and Greg and Patrick and Stacy put a lot of work into developing those. And they really are exciting. You could view them two ways. We send the emails out every Wednesday letting you know that they're available, but by a link. Or you could just go to the RMC website and go to the media page, and it's right there where you can view both. But definitely go there for updates on a weekly basis. Thanks a bunch.
Thanks, Mark. Sean, you got anything for the group?
Yeah, just real quick, I want to take 2 minutes and actually recognize Dan and Sharon. They've obviously built this business over the past 21 years, and I don't think in their wildest dreams they could have ever imagined something like this occurring. I know these times are challenging and difficult for everyone. I've been at RMC for 14 years, and I can't think of a better person and people being Dan and Sharon to help lead us through this difficult time and to bring us into the new normal. So I just want to take a minute to give Dan and Sharon a virtual round of applause. They got a lot on their shoulders, and just know, Dan and Sharon, you have an army of folks behind you and standing next to you as you go through this.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it. Thank you all. Brett, you got anything for the group, Brett? Did he say no? Oh, here you go. Go ahead, Brett.
Still waiting to hear from CNU and William and Mary about opportunities with them coming back to school. As soon as I do, I will communicate that out to all the Tidewater staff. And if there are chances to get Richmond involved, I'll definitely reach out with that. Take a look at the barricades, as Mark said. Colonial Downs did announce that they will be starting racing, but they announced yesterday that they will not be having spectators. So unfortunately that has changed, and if there's still an opportunity for that, I'll definitely reach out with those opportunities.
Hey, Brett, so they can go bet on horses, but you can't do it in person, right? You got to do it online?
You can do it online, or you can be in the building at the OTB.
Brett, BG loves to bet on horses. So if he can't go bet on them, can you ask if he can ride? Well, can he be a jockey for a race? We'll sponsor it. I'll do it out of my pocket to see if he rides a horse.
I'm in.
All right. Well, let me know how that works out, Brett. Hey, Greg, you're up.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining in. Sean, great words. I think we all feel the same about Dan and Sharon and all the work they put into it. So much thanks as well. But the last piece and the only other thing I really have is, again, we all want to see you guys back out at events. We all want these events to come back around. We miss seeing everyone. And just know there's a lot of opportunities with the external programs that Sean mentioned. And don't let that steer you away, that because you want to still be on the event side that you think you can help with that program. We will by all means take anything we can get to help get some money in your pockets to help with that external program. And if events come back around or you're already scheduled for something that does happen, we will certainly get you back on that event. So I just don't want you to think that's something to keep you from helping with the external program during this time. So just keep that in mind. It does not take away from anything you're doing on the event related side. We will certainly make sure we take care of you on that side as well.
Yeah, good point. Thanks, Greg. Flower, you're up.
Just second what everyone else has said. Thanks everyone for joining and for the questions. And you know, as Dan mentioned, if anyone has questions, if you're in the Western region, if you have a question, you know, feel free to call the office, shoot me an email. If you get the voicemail, just leave your message. Myself, Mark, somebody from our office will get back to you. We're still here for you guys. So if you need something, just reach out.
Thanks, Patrick. JB?
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know in the Eastern region that we're always in discussions with Mark and Patrick up in the Western region about UVA and JMU. And as soon as we hear something, we're going to reach out to you and let you know the opportunities that come about. Thanks.
Thanks, JB. Before we let BG go, if you've ever seen the movie The Wizard of Oz, there's an individual behind the screen pulling all the levers today. And Dylan's put all this work together. Him and Tracy's done a great job. So DSG, the Wizard of Oz behind the screen, do you have anything you'd like to virtually say? I can't even see him. He's on the other side of the office. Go ahead, Dylan.
I just want to thank Lynn. She sat in here with me trying to answer all those questions. We answered over 90 in 60 minutes, so a little over a question a minute. It was a bit frantic at times, but it was fun.
I appreciate all your work. Lynn, thanks for sticking around and helping tonight answer those questions. And Dylan and Lynn have been in there. We might have answered 20, 30, maybe 35, 40 questions here. They've been answering them rapid fire if they were able to give them a quick answer. So thank you for all that work. All right, I'm almost afraid to hand the floor over to BG as we close, but I'll do so guardedly. Sir, go ahead.
You know how shy I am. So,
Yes, you know.
I've been blessed over the last 2 or 3 years, or a little bit over 2 years, to work with Sean in the external part of the company. And it is a great, great opportunity. And we need good customer service folks to help us over the next how many months it's going to be, whether it's 3, 6, whatever it's going to be. And it's a great opportunity for you guys to pick up some extra income. And it's just as fun and exciting as the event side, I promise you. And we need you. So please let Sean and Chip and everybody know. And I'll be there with you. So everybody's got my number, I know. So call me or whatever, and we'll make it happen. And we're real flexible in the schedule. Sean and Chip and Dave Mickleberry, they work with everybody. So, and it doesn't mean in January or February when the other events come back, you're going to go back. But we just need your help, and we want to help you guys over the next 6 months or so, whatever it's going to be. But thank you. Look forward to seeing you. And thanks for having me in, guys. Miss all of you.
Thanks, BG. We're 5 minutes past our hour, but in all defense, we started 5 minutes late to allow everybody to log in. We had over 280 participants at our peak here tonight. So again, thank you. Please spread the word. Dylan's recording this. We'll post it and we'll send out notification and we'll do this again. So there are still 230 people logged in now. So that tells me that you want this, you need this, and quite frankly, I think we needed this. So thank you for your time. It was great seeing you. We love you. We miss you. Have a great day. See y'all.
Thanks, guys.